Welcome to the Road to Superman, where every video will be a new installment leading up to the new Superman movie as we revisit the classics and show how to build them in LEGO minifigure form. Hey guys, as we continue our Superman Celebration series, today we're revisiting Superman the Animated Series. This show was an absolute classic back in the day, and it was really fun to do kind of a greatest hits here and make some of the best and easiest characters to make in LEGO form. Now this isn't every single hero or villain that appeared in the series because, well, that would take an insanely long time to cover them all, so I just kind of went through and made some highlights of figures and characters that I remember from watching the show back in the day, and of course ones that are on the simpler side to make in LEGO form, and some characters I've never made before in any iteration. So with that being said, let's get into it and start breaking it down. Alright, we'll start off with Superman, who is largely the same as some of the other Supermans I've made in my previous showcases for the Christopher Reeve movies. In this case, we're using the original 2012 Superman torso, head, and hair with the modern rubber cape. I just think it works so well for Superman the way it sits off the shoulders. Then, of course, you've got to make sure he's got red hips and the dual molded legs that have most commonly come on Spider-Man that give you those iconic red boots. So here we have Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Clark was a little easier to make than Lois, but of course I used the hair and the head from the only Clark Kent minifigure we've ever gotten as of this video. He actually came in a Superman DVD years ago. Then the torso and legs come from J. Jonah Jameson from the original Daily Bugle. Of course, for Lois Lane, I used some long black hair, which we've gotten on many characters over the years. The face comes from Wonder Woman, if memory serves correctly. Then as we move down, the torso comes from Pam from The Office, and then the legs come from the 2015 Age of Ultron Scarlet Witch. Heading into the newsroom, we've got Jimmy Olsen and Perry White. I've not made Perry White ever in LEGO form before, so to build him, I used the torso from Jim Gordon from The Batman, with white arms and of course keeping the black legs for pants, with Old Man Han Solo's hair and the swept back Widow's Peak white hair. Then of course for Jimmy Olsen, I made him a little bit on the shorter side with the shorter gray legs, an Indiana Jones torso, the face from Robin from the LEGO Batman movie, and Ron's hair from Harry Potter. Alright, now we'll get into some of the Justice League cameos from the show, and thankfully for the Flash and Aquaman, there really are minimal changes. The Flash, of course, uses the Flash helmet, head, and torso with those dual-molded legs with the yellow boots that appeared on later versions of the Flash, and this Aquaman came in the Comic-Con exclusive set, but don't be alarmed, it's actually very simple to make. You just need the regular Aquaman legs, torso, and head. Then, of course, you need this swept-back Widow's Peak hair, which has come on tons and tons of Draco Malfoy figures from over the years. Why did I say Draco? Draco Malfoy minifigs. But thankfully, it's pretty simple to make and definitely looks good for the show. Alright, here we have Green Lantern and Cosmic Boy, both of which require some changing to the base figures. For Cosmic Boy, I used the head and torso from the official version from the Polybag years ago, of course with black arms and hands, and the handcuff method where you take a pair of handcuffs and cut the chain out between them to give, some gauntlets or some bulk to the arms. Then, of course, I just used some of this regular swept to the side black hair up top, and the legs from Beast Boy to get some purple going on for his legs. Then for Green Lantern, I used the head and hair from the Hal Jordan Green Lantern from years and years ago. Then the torso is from John Stewart Green Lantern with black arms and hands and black legs to match the look of the show. Here we have Steel, and I love the way this turned out because he was a little difficult to make based off of how he's, done in the show. But what I used here is the flipped around torso from Mark II Iron Man. Then the legs, helmet, all of that from Mark II Iron Man with shoulder armor that came from Whiplash, although it's been on lots of figures. And I used this pole piece with a stud, a 1x1 with a stud to attach it, and then the flat plate and a 1x1 brick there to put it all together to make his hammer. Alright, Lex Luthor was a lot of fun to put together and actually pretty simple because all you need are black legs, the torso from Flitwick from Harry Potter, easy from the CMF Series 1, then the hands and head from Namor from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and there you have Lex Luthor. Okay, next we have Sinestro and Lobo. Now, Sinestro has no changes from the DC CMF series, so we're just going to leave him exactly as is. And then for Lobo, I did change a couple things. The first thing is giving him the legs from the Frankenstein's monster Rockstar from the Monster CMF years ago. I just think that that looks better for his look in the show, and I did change out his hair. Now, Lobo's hair in this show is really big and crazy, and I didn't really have a piece in my collection that matched that, so I just went with this long Hobbit hair from The Hobbit, but of course, I'd be open to suggestions if you guys have a better idea. Alright, for some more bad guys, we've got Darkseid and Bizarro. I was shocked in the show, just based off of my memory, I thought Bizarro was like more purple than he is, but he's actually just kind of like a darker red Superman. But of course, I used the head, the hair, and this torso piece from Bizarro from the Mighty Micros set. Actually, I think that Bizarro might have had different hair. Doesn't matter. The torso and head are from Mighty Micros Bizarro with this cape from the Royal Guard from Star Wars, because it's actually a darker red, which is nice, and dark red hips with tall blue legs, so that we just get that darker red version of Superman's suit, which we see Bizarro wear. For Darkseid, he was a little bit more difficult to make, because there's only ever been one dark blue helmet in this color, and it was from Knight's Kingdom 2, like 20 years ago, so I don't even have that piece, so I don't imagine a lot of people watching this would have that at their disposal, so I went with a blue race car driver helmet, just to make it a little simpler. The head comes from Gore from Thor Love and Thunder, with the flipped around torso from 11 from Stranger Things. Now, I realize that I just said I went with a common helmet. For that reason, you don't have to use the 11 from Stranger Things torso. It's just the first blue one I saw that you could flip around. Honestly, just a regular blue torso would work just fine. He's got light bluish gray arms with dark blue hands, and then these construction worker legs, I think from the Lego movie, but I can't quite remember. They were just in my parts bin, but that way you get a little bit of gray on the legs, and it kind of makes it look like his boots are separated, and even though the blue colors don't match, I do think it works out pretty well. And finally, my favorite figure from this showcase, I just love the way this turned out, it is Supergirl. Now, I wasn't sure how I was going to make this, right? Because we've only ever gotten one white torso that has a Superman logo on it, and that, of course, is from Jor-El from the Lego Batman movie. But once I started putting the pieces together, I'm actually pretty happy with the way it worked out. Of course, this black S isn't the red one she has in the show, but it does look pretty good in context. The arms come from Dorothy from the Lego movie CMF Series 2, although they were also in the German soccer player series, and they were also on Paul Walker's character from the Nissan Skyline set from Speed Champions. She's got white gloves on. She's got the flipped around skirt piece that comes on Alice from Alice in Wonderland from the Disney CMF. The legs actually come from Dorothy too. That way you kind of get like red shoes or red boots like she has in the show. The cape is, of course, a red cape with the head from Rey from Star Wars and this awesome hairpiece from the DC Superhero Girls version of Supergirl. That way you get the blonde with the hairband and it all ties together perfectly. So with that being said, let's wrap up the video and call it a day. Alright guys, be sure to hit like and subscribe down below. Check out my other Superman celebration videos where I've done this same concept for other Superman movies and shows. And I'll see you guys on the next video.